Today, it's time for the 2-week update of our ceramic spray sealant Showdown, water-based edition, of course. We're going to pull out the same shampoo we used last week, Simfer, which I think showed a great potential. I was very impressed. So this time we're going to measure it. We're going to do about 25 milliliters and 500 milliliters of water, which is about 20-to-1 dilution. Because I was very impressed with the foam this gave us. And of course, we put 1 capful into the bucket. So let's see if we can do that on camera. Boop. And 1 capful bucket, good to go. So, little recap as we fill up our bucket. Look at those suds, fantastic stuff from Simfer. Really, really good shampoo. We're going to see what kind of foam we get with the 20-to-1 dilution this week. But, recap, BC3 took a hit in that first week. That was very surprising. These 4, Jimbo's Toughest Shell, Resist, Griots, and Hardest Shell looked good to go. And CSS and Ceramic Gloss looked like they were sheeting more than the others with less beating. That was just from my observations. Now, Mr. Ivan LaCroix did chime in to the subject. He said, Jamie, at the final rinse, you should dry the panel with a premium drying towel like the drying blanket from DIY Detail. And that will basically act as our wet towel wipe down, kind of neutralize the surface, make sure there's no leftover stuff, and should keep us from having to pull out the water spot remover so soon. So we're going to add that to the test this week, kind of add that wet water towel wipe down. But we're going to just dry the whole panel completely with a designated drying towel. Let the motorcycle dirt bike go by, and then we'll check hydrophobics again after we dry the panel, and that should give us the real deal Holyfield when it comes to hydrophobics. So let's get our bucket out there, give it an initial rinse, foam her down, give it a wash. We're going to be good to go. Hopefully the camera keeps rolling this episode. Oops, didn't unreel my hose enough. Oh well. Let's see what the initial squares are looking like. There you go. Armor. It's feeding good this week. Ceramic Gloss on the bottom. Griots. Ethos Resist. Toughest Shell, Hardest Shell. And the BC3 square. Looks like it might be still down there. So even on the dirty panel, you can see there's squares. Very, very cool. All right, I'm going to go straighten out the hose. I'm going to come back with the foam cannon. It is very noisy around here. Hopefully everybody can hear just fine. All right, I'll be back with the foam cannon. We'll lay down some foam. I'll get me some more length to this hose. Forgot to unroll it more. Set my fan back up. All right, let's put the lid on the MJJC. Check the camera, make sure we're still recording. We're still rolling right now, folks. So far, so good. On a Saturday afternoon. It's a couple days late for the exact 2 weeks update, but it's pretty busy this week with a lot of podcasts. Let's foam her down. People. At 20-to-1 ratio, Simfer from Labo Cosmetica is giving us just mountains of foam. And it smells amazing. They said this was a bucket soap. Look, look at the cling. Look at the distribution. What does their foam cannon soap look like? This stuff's amazing. So impressed. I'm gonna even try it at a lower dilution next week. 20-to-1 obviously gets you really good clinging foam, as you can see. Now, very curiously, like last week, Armor, not hanging on to any soap. DIY, hanging on to like half of it. Griots hanging on to all of it. Really good square from Griots this week. Resist looking good as well. It still has the mountains of foam on it, so that's interesting. I think it's actually holding on to the foam the most yeah, as it drips down, its square is getting more definitive from the griots. Toughest shell, holding on to foam really, really good. It's very interesting to see the sealants hold the foam. That's pretty wild. Still haven't figured out why that's a thing, but it gives you more dwell time, potentially, to have a more protected vehicle. Look, and there's nothing up here. Armor's doing something over here. There's nothing down here, and they're holding on to the foam. So you get longer dwell time kind of with these types of sealants. Ceramic gloss is finally starting to shed the soap. Hardest shell, shedding the soap. BC3, I can still see the square, so it's actually came back a little bit. So the water spot remover definitely helped it out. I just find this soap square thing pretty cool. Look, someone smarter than me has to be out there and come up with a explanation as to why some spray sealants hold on to soap, because that's something I've never even thought of. I mean, look at this. You can have crazy cling with the right snow foam if you're using these two for sure, griots and resist. So let's give them a wash. Boop, boop. Just one swipe, whoop-de-doop-de. All right, now I'm gonna pick you back up. Still recording. We're doing good this week, folks. We're doing real good. You can see griot square completely repelling everything. Is griots just the most underrated thing on the market right now? Like, what did they make with this baby green Hulk juice? Baby Hulk right behind them, though. Let's be honest. Resist doing good. Jimbo's toughest shell has been pretty impressive as well. Much more impressive than hardest shell in early testing so far. So let's give it a rinse, see what it's all looking like. So as you can see, no protection on the rest of the door, like I said. Armor detail supply, looks like it's still sheeting and beading pretty good. DIY ceramic gloss sheeting on that lower left corner. Obviously in a harder spot, griots, I mean, just fantastic. Resist, fantastic. Toughest shell looking good. Hardest shell, starting to look like it did in previous testing. You can see that toughest shell is definitely more impressive than hardest shell. Good job. At least in my opinion. It's still close. BC3, still struggling down there. So let's dry the panel. Let's see if what Ivan said, where it will act kind of like our wet towel wipe down. Make sure we get all the surfactants. So I think this soap rinses extraordinarily well. But let's listen to the mustache master himself. I'll even use his drying towel since he chimed in on the video. Gave me a few tips. Hey, any way we can improve on the channel is good. I like the tips, I like the feedback. Dry everything up. Got some drippy drips going on. All right, let's just keep this around since I'm gonna go put this down so I can hold the camera right. All right, give me a second. Put that down. Now we're back to square one, hopefully. Dry panel, it has been cleaned, washed, foamed, all that good stuff. So now, let's check on it. Armor, detail supply. They're looking rough, DIY ceramic gloss, what happened there? Now, let's check them out, hold on. I think the results may have gotten worse. The strong ones are still obviously being real strong, and the ones that were sheeting, like Armor Detail Supply, is a complete sheet after drying. Weird. Ceramic gloss is a complete sheet after drying, and BC3 is a complete sheet as well. Griots looking pretty good. Resist, looking pretty good. Toughest shell, looking good. Well, toughest shell starting to sheet now too. Hardest shell you can see is a complete sheet now as well. Let's try and flood this as much as possible. See who wins. As you can see, it was like impossible to flood the resist, and it's on the bottom. It's really hard to flood the griots and the resist. But even toughest shell after that looks like it's flooding more and more too. All right, let's stand back and see if we can get them to bead. So you can see Armor and DIY still. Armor's looks like it's performing better than DIY actually. All right, griots and resist. Looks like griots might be outperforming resist, but resist is catching all the water, of course. Toughest shell, BC3. BC3 is pretty much gone. Toughest shell still sheeting its outline, and hardest shell looks like BC3 now. So hardest shell matching my early testing. After the 2-week mark, it just starts to look rough. Looking like BC3. I don't know what happened, because ceramic gloss was looking okie dokie until we dried it. I don't know what's going on. This is look, these tests are weird, all right? You never know what you're gonna get, but again, is griots the like just uncrowned super champ of the world? It's at AutoZone. What is it, $24? Probably the best bang for your buck. You can spray and rinse it. It does a phenomenal job. The winter, I'll probably do a whole in-depth breakdown and name it, you know, the best spray sealant on the market, water-based anyway. But yeah, that's what I got for this week, people. It's looking good. We're still rolling on, you know. We won't call, I'll still give BC3 one more week, ceramic gloss and hardest shell one more week before we call any of them officially completely dead. Because BC3 square at the beginning of this week's wash was still slightly there. I still saw a square imprint. So until the square is completely gone, they're still in it to win it, you know what I'm saying? Maybe something happens. But there you go, that's this week's update. High performers this week are ceramic 3-in-1 and resist. Toughest shell was right there with them until we dried with a towel, and then it started cheating. So I'm not sure what happened there. Look, don't shoot the messenger, all right? I'm just showing you the results. No edits in this week. The whole video filmed correctly this time. Hardest shell looking like it did in my early testing, and you can believe it or not, it's performing exactly the same as it was. And I'm not surprised, and no shot at BC3, man, because it's mostly the gloss enhancer of the Apex brands. Like I said at the beginning, I just wanted to put it on here. Maybe it would surprise us. It did not in my testing, but many of y'all chimed in, says it's been lasting 3+ months on y'all's vehicles. So good deal. Maybe, you know, if you apply this, maybe 2 layers, top it weekly, BC3 is great. It's smooth, it's slick, it's all the good stuff, you know what I'm saying? I like all of these. All of these super glossy, easy to use, water-based. You never know what you're gonna get. You know, it's like a box of chocolates with a water-based sealant. But we're seeing which one's gonna win in this test. And so far, the internet underdog, the beloved ceramic 3-in-1, is looking real hard to beat. Resist right behind it. That's all I got for this week, people. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. These kids riding dirt bikes all over the place. It's chaos around here. We'll see you on the next one.